All right, so this recording is in reference to how you would turn in your digital files that you've completed for a project. For my project here, I have an InDesign file, and when I open this file, we'll get in class, we'll get a message from Creative Cloud that says we're missing fonts, okay? Now there's not a whole lot, I'm not going to worry about finding the fonts right here. Because I really need to activate the fonts from Suitcases. So I'm going to close this for just a second. I'm hitting Command 0, the number 0, and we can see that all of my type, I'm going to zoom in just a smidge, all of my type has pink behind it. Now if I hit the W key, assuming I'm not in a type box, it doesn't show any pink. That's kind of what I would get if I printed. But we know Garamond has those finishing strokes at the ends. Those are called serifs. And this does not have any finishing strokes, because this is the wrong font. They've put a reasonable facsimile in here. It's not even a reasonable facsimile. They put the default font in here. So the first thing I need to do after I open my InDesign file and I get the message that fonts are missing is I'm going to minimize InDesign by clicking on the yellow button in the upper, excuse me, that's Camtasia, the yellow button in the upper left-hand corner. That minimizes it. My fonts are already loaded, but I need to activate them, so I'm going to bring up Suitcase Fusion. Now yours isn't quite this large, but this is the thing that you usually see when you have Suitcase Fusion open. Yours is going to be much smaller in your window. You'll see that these fonts are loaded, they're just not activated. Okay, so you have to activate your fonts every time you sit down to the computer here in the classroom. So I can click on the first named font, which in my case is Baskerville, hold down the Shift key and click on the last one, or I can just click in there and hit Command A, and then to activate them I hit Command O, and it will put the blue circle next to them, which now indicates that they're active and ready to use in the software. Now I'm going to minimize this and bring up my InDesign file, and we'll see that the pink will automatically turn to the font that's loaded as soon as Suitcase catches up to what I asked it to do. So let me look at Suitcase. It says it's activating the fonts right now. We can see it at the bottom. So as soon as it's done activating those, which it's still doing right now, this will go from pink and whatever default font this is to the actual typeface. Again, let's check on it. It's still activating. It's taking all day, I know. But there we go. Now when I come down here, oh look, Garamond, it's not that icky pink stuff anymore. Okay, so even though we have the font loaded, we have to activate it every time we restart the computer and come back in and log in. Unfortunately, it's something we have to do. Okay, so we've opened our file, we've reactivated our fonts, it finally got them open, and now I have no pink. Now in this document I should have 5 pages, the first one being Garamond, the second one being set in Baskerville, the third one in Bedoni, the fourth one in Century or Century Expanded. We could take the word expanded off on that headline because it was too long. And the last one will be Helvetica. Now, what do we do to get ready to get this to turn in? Now here, what I do is I go to File, and almost all the way at the bottom, 4 items up from the bottom, is the word Package. So File, Package. Again, it's 4 items up from the bottom. So I'm going to click on Package and see what option I get. Now, assuming I've done everything correctly and activated my fonts, I should not see any explanation points inside of a yellow triangle. If I see any, they would be right in this area right here that I'm circling with my cursor. But right now, I have no explanation points right there. That means my fonts are okay, nothing's missing, nothing's embedded, everything's good. So I'm going to hit Package here because I have none of those problems. If you have any of those problems, read what it says, cancel it, and solve those problems by activating your fonts or linking graphics or whatever is necessary. So I'm going to hit Package. This is printing instructions. Now what this window is for, we don't need it, but we're not going to hit cancel. What this window is for is in the event that I were sending this to a professional printer, not FedEx Kinko's, but maybe a bigger printer, a really high-end printer, I would put my information in here. Sapida, you have a question, right?
It asks publication publication must be saved before continuing?
Yes, sometimes it'll ask you if you want to save the publication before you continue. Go ahead and hit save. That means you've probably done a little bit of work on your stuff, and so it has to be saved before you package it. So if it comes up with a message that says publication needs to be saved before you can continue, go ahead and save it, and then we can continue. So for the printing instructions window, when it comes up after that, you can just hit continue. Don't hit cancel because it cancels out our entire process here. So just hit continue. This will be a little text file that ends up in our packaged folder. Now you'll get a window. Again, my monitor is set really, really large here. We get a window here, and this window, it says to create the package folder. And at the top, it will name the folder the same name as your InDesign file. Now what I want you guys to make sure you have it named as is your last name. In my case it would be Bilbrey, but yours is going to be your last name. Then an underscore. The underscore is found at the dash key, but you hold down the shift key to get the underscore. Then your first name, then another underscore, and project 1. Okay, so don't name it my name, name it your name. I know it sounds silly that I have to say that, but I've had students who have named their files with my name. So this is going to create a folder that it's going to gather everything into, fonts and my InDesign file and any links. Now, at the bottom of the create package folder, we'll see the word package, but before we do that, let's make sure it's got everything it's supposed to have. We want it to copy the fonts. Yes. Any link graphics? Yes. Update the link graphics? Sure. Include an IDML file? Sure. Include a PDF file? Sure. All of that by default is good. For the PDF preset, high quality print is what you want, assuming you might need to print from it. Okay? So all of this that was set on my default is actually good. But you want to double check and make sure what yours has is similar to mine. So we want to copy the fonts, copy the link graphics, update graphic links, include IDML, and include PDF, and make sure that PDF is a high quality print. Now, this is going to package this into the folder where I actually am holding all of my documents here. So I'm going to hit package, and it will give you a warning. This warning basically is describing the idea that, or the concept, or the fact that fonts are copyright protected and they have licensing. We, Ivy Tech, purchase the licensing to the fonts that I provided to you. What it's telling you is that if you don't own the licensing to the fonts, then you may be performing something that's illegal. So basically I'm going to hit OK, I understand that. And it is now saving the document, creating the IDML file, creating a PDF, and also collecting fonts. It happened very quickly. There was a progress bar. It went by really fast. Now, if I had images in here, this process would take a little longer. Now, I am going to minimize InDesign, and I am going to look for the folder that I have packaged. Now, I originally had a Bilbrey Project 1 folder. Now I have a Bilbrey. Oh, I just put my last name twice. Excuse me. Let me fix that. Let me rename that. Got all excited about my last name. So there is my package folder right here. Now I usually open it and I take a look at and see what it's got. It's got the fonts I've used. Now yours should have. Mine only has Garamond and Garamond Book and Garamond Book Italic because I didn't complete my assignment. I don't have my Baskerville and my Bodoni done. Okay, but you'll have all sorts of fonts. You'll have Baskerville and Bodoni and Garamond and all of the fonts, Century Expanded and Helvetica. Okay. I also have the instructions.txt. This is that printing instruction thing. You can leave that in there. It's fine. It's a very small file, or you could trash it. The Project 1A IDML file, I can grade these from home on my old version of InDesign because of this IDML file. So this allows me to open this newer version of InDesign, which is Creative Cloud, on my InDesign CS6 at home. So that helps. It's kind of like saving backwards. So leave that alone. And then there's your InDesign file, and then there's the PDF. I usually open these and make sure they look good. So this PDF looks pretty good. It looks a little fuzzy, actually. I want to zoom in. Okay, it's good. And you should have multiple pages. And I usually will open my InDesign file again just to see, make sure everything's good there. Okay, so I'm just double checking everything. It's all there. Okay, now before we turn in this folder, which has our InDesign file, our IDML file for older versions of software, our fonts folder, we're going to go ahead and zip this because you can't turn in a big folder on Blackboard. Okay, so what you do is on the Mac, you click in the upper right hand corner of your mouse, which is a right click. So right click and you'll get a window that comes up. So right click on the mouse, and to compress this or to zip it, you simply go down to 5 items down on the list. It says compress and it has the name of your folder. And what will happen is it will compress that down so that's in one file, and it has .zip after it. Now, if I were to do this on a PC, I'd actually have to change it up from 7. I think by default it chooses a 7 zip, and you have to make it just plain old zip. But we're on Macs right here. So there's that. This is ready to turn in. Now, how do I turn it in? I'm going to go to Blackboard, and I'm going to go to this week's class. Sorry, I've got some stuff up there. Something Sepida and I were talking about last week. There we go. So I'm logging into Blackboard just as you would. Now mine's going to be a little different because I'm the teacher, but we'll see if it'll work. So I'm going to go down to our typography class, click on it. And here you can either go to class sessions and click on week 3, or the week 3 announcement, if you scroll down past that table, just underneath the red text where it says to access this week's course materials, click on the course link below this text. This is the course link right here. Very poor visual hierarchy. Most people don't even notice that, so they don't know to click on it. So this is the thing I'm saying to click on. We just go right there. It'll take us right to the week 3 folder. Here we have at the very topmost item the thing that says Project 1, 5 basic typefaces. It's got an assignment image and it's an underlined title. We click on the underlined title and it will open a new window. And that new window looks like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down past the descriptive text to find the assignment submission section where it says attach file. We click on browse my computer. We go to the folder that has our zip file in it. Click on that zip file and open it. And it's attaching it right now. It's bringing it up. Now I hit submit. Don't save as draft unless you're work in progress. This would be submitting it. And now I can go into Blackboard and I can see if, now mine says the submission is not saved because I'm the teacher, but yours shouldn't come up with a red thing on there. If it does, let me know. But now I should start seeing, if I go to the Grade Center, I should start seeing you guys populating that project. Now I'm not going to go to the Grade Center because it shows grades on quizzes, and I'm not allowed to show you everybody's grades because there's a thing called FERPA, which is your right to privacy, so I don't share your grades with everybody. Okay, so I'm not going there. But I do go there here in a minute and double check and see who has made it and who has not. So that was submitting your zip file. Now let's talk about printing your file. Now I'm going to open my InDesign document. I'm going to hit Command 0, the number 0. It zooms out. Now, I noticed many of you are printing here in this lab, and that's fine. It just costs you more to print on a color printer than it does to print on the black and white printer. This is a color printer up here. I believe it's 30 cents per 8.5 by 11 sheet. The black and white printer only costs 5 cents for 8.5 by 11 sheet. So the black and white printer, which is not located in this room, it's located in an open lab. It is down in room T341, nearly at the end of the hallway. Okay? So let's talk about printing. To print, we would hit Command P or go to File and Print. And these numbers and the names of the printers are a little confusing, so let me explain those. If I click on this thing that says printer, and it says R08TCP34, oh my gosh, that's a lot of stuff. Basically, this middle number surrounded by the dashes tells you what room that printer is in. So if I wanted to print to the black and white printer in T341, which I know is an HP 8150, and it even says so right here. It's too bad we don't have the B and W after that, so you know. But to T341 black and white printer, which is only going to cost me 5 cents a print, I would choose the one that says 341 HP 8150. Now, if I didn't mind blowing 40 or 30 cents instead of 5, I would print to the printer in here, which would be the 328 printer, which is Xerox 7800. This is in our room in T328. Okay. Oh, hello. We're gonna have to pause the. I don't know that I'll change the recording that I'm doing right now, but we'll just have an interruption just for a moment. Our dean's here. Yeah, could you come back, Mr. Dean, in about 10 minutes? Thank you. Okay. So that's our dean, by the way. He probably wanted to introduce himself, but he'll do that in about 10 minutes when we're finished. Okay. Why is it he and John always come at the worst times? Okay, so if I'm saving myself money, I would go to the T341. If I'm saving my tennis shoe rubber, I would go to, to 328, okay? So now let me talk about the T328 printer that's right here, because many of you like the convenience, but there's something about it that gives you problems, and it automatically prints double-sided, and that's not always what we want. So let me talk about this printer in here. Right now we're on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, so we know that that was the document set up. So over here on the left-hand column, you have general. This basically is, we don't really have to change anything here. We're printing pages instead of spreads. We're not doing a book. We don't need to worry about anything here other than we go to setup, which is the next one. Here you want to choose letter if it's not already selected, because we are printing on letter paper. You might want to get in the habit down where it says page position. This is near the bottom. It's 3 items up from the bottom. Hard to see if you're sitting in the back of the room. I typically center my printing. This way, later on, if you're centering it and printing something front to back, it won't be shifted on one side. So I just do that out of habit. We don't really want to turn on crop marks right now because this project doesn't need it, so we don't need to worry about marks and bleeds. So typically, the 3 places we do need to worry about on any given print job are the general, the setup, and marks and bleeds. Okay, most of that applies to most jobs. Now, down on the bottom of this, and I know it's hard to see from the back, in the bottom of this print box, we'll have a page setup button down in the lower left-hand corner underneath the little preview. You want to click on that and hit OK when that warning comes up. Basically, what we're doing is we're double checking to make sure whatever printer type is in our print dialog box is the same as in the page setup box. So you want the number in the printer area here to match this number here. They do. You also want the paper size in your setup to match what it is here on this print dialog box, and also here in the page setup, and they do. Typically this is not a problem, but occasionally these will be mismatched, and when they are, it won't print and it'll charge you for it. So I always double check it. So this is good. I hit OK. Now, how do you turn off double-sided printing? Well, that's the next button down in the lower left-hand corner. Page setup is not it. It's the word printer. That's the second button. There's a warning. You hit OK. And here by default, I feel sorry for IT because they have a million things to do. And last semester we kept telling them, hey, turn this off. And so we assume they might have remembered that, but they didn't. And they forgot to turn off two-sided printing. So uncheck two-sided printing. Now I will let you know when you're showing the details, which is this button right here, show details, like if you wanted to do more things, you'll notice that that two-sided printing thing disappears. So if you don't see this two-sided option and you have a big window like this, hit hide details and make sure two-sided is off. Okay, I'm going to hit print. Now print was in essence saying okay to that box, and I can hit print one more time and it will come out the printer here at the head of the room, and I'm going to print that right now. Now the cool thing is your name is on the pages of your printouts, so when you go to the printer, everybody's stuff looks the same, with the exception of your name. Now here we can't just hit print and get up because we have to tell it, yes, you're charging me so much cents to print. I hit yes, and then it comes out. Oftentimes I'll hit print and I'll get up and run to the printer and forget that window is going to pop up. It won't charge you until you hit yes, release the job. But what will happen is you'll go down there and you'll be waiting and nothing's coming out. Then you come back here and you're like, there's no window up because it disappears after a while. So make sure you stay tight until you get that pay for print window that comes up. Now, the only reason why I printed to this printer in this classroom was to save time so I didn't have to run down to the printer down in T341. I did not save money, however. So this is 30 cents as opposed to 5 cents, which would be what it would have costed if I printed to T341 and just ran down to that black and white printer to pick it up, okay? So this is a matter of, if you have 5 of these and it's 30 cents, that costs $1.50 to print. Versus if you have 5 of these and it's 5 cents, 25 cents to print. So this could cost you 25 cents or $1.50. I think it's worth walking down there for myself. I'm a bit of a conservative when it comes to blowing money like that. Okay, so that was how to package and how to print. And do you guys have any questions?
So the HP in the printer setup, the HP that's below the XC is the black and white printer.
HP 8150 is the black and white printer. NT 341. Yes. Yes. Yeah, all the way down towards the end of the hallway. On the left-hand side, you just run in there. There's computers and a couple of printers in there. Nobody's holding class in there. It's just an open lab. Yeah.
So after you zip your, or package rather, your file, say for instance you look at your InDesign document, you see you want to make a change.
Okay, you can make a change. Okay, the question is, can I make a change to my InDesign file after I've repackaged it, or do I need to repackage it? Well, assuming you haven't zipped it yet, I mean, if you haven't zipped it, throw away that zip folder. But if I go in here and I'm like, oh, I need to spell my name correctly, maybe I misspelled my name, I can fix it, save it. You do not need to repackage it. Only if I included new images or even new fonts used would I repackage it.
So you want to go into the
InDesign file.
Package, not the original.
Not the original. Go into the one that's packaged. Yeah, exactly. So the question was, do I go into the original InDesign file or do I go into the packaged file? You would go into the packaged file or folder and open that InDesign file, make changes, save it. Don't worry about repackaging it, and then you can zip it and send it my way. Okay? Good question. I'm going to stop the recording now. Let's say